Good morning, everyone. This is Live with Main Street. I am Anna, and we've got Jim and Eric. How are you guys doing this morning?
Real good.
Doing well.
Hey, Jim, you've got a hat on.
Yes. And do you know what college that represents, Anna or Eric?
No idea.
The #2 baseball team in the country, the University of Arizona. That's headquartered in Tucson, Arizona. And I'm a 1973 grad. And for doing so well, I'm going to send them an extra donation this year as an alumni. Anyway,
Oh, there you go.
thank you, Arizona, for making it look so good.
Very cool.
Well, there you go. Well, I'm just as proud, Jim, to wear my Maui hat, but I won't tell you where I'm at because I want you to think I'm in Maui. Oh, I want to think that I'm in Maui this morning, broadcasting live from the beach.
Okay, let's get to the questions. That's what the people are here for.
Anyway, we can still do this. We can still do this from the beach. Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys questions first, one at a time.
Okay.
How about we give Jim the first question? When can I start getting Social Security benefits on my ex-spouse's earnings?
Well, Anna and Eric and our folks that are viewing, you know, divorce is a bad thing as far as our society goes, but it's almost 50% of marriages. And so Social Security benefits are changeable when it comes to divorce. And there's 4 or 5 criteria. A lot of times you have to go look it up or see somebody professionally because it can be difficult. But the first question should come to mind: have you been married 10 years before you got divorced? And I've seen some people who actually extend a separation to qualify for the 10 years. So that's an issue. Are you married now? No. Well, then you can apply for benefits if you're age 62 or older. However, there's that old earnings test that comes into play between 62 and 66 or 62 and 67, depending on when your full retirement age is. And so you have to watch out for that, because if you apply for your ex-spouse's benefits and you're making a lot of money, it's not very useful. They'll take it back from you. You're also eligible for survivor benefits on an ex-spouse, but there's a couple of things that you need to remember. Number one, was your ex-spouse eligible for Social Security? Because if they weren't, then you don't get any spousal benefits. And have you been divorced for at least 2 years? So it's a pretty complicated area. You can get ex-spousal benefits and save your own until age 70. A lot of people try to do that, but you have to be very cautious. So it's the old carpenter adage: measure twice, cut once. Don't jump into ex-spouse Social Security benefits before you are really sure you know what you're doing.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. So can you make a little announcement to everyone about what you're doing this month?
Yes. On the 18th of July, this is Social Security Month for Swim with Jim. And I've written a couple of blogs on it, and I've also had some questions on it today. And I'll be interviewing the author of Your Social Security Manual. His name is Jim Blankenship. He's an enrolled agent and a CFP. And we'll be talking to him about all the new rules that Congress has made up as it impacts Social Security benefits. And that comes on July 18th, and we'll be sending out a blast email for the exact time. And it'll also be available later on YouTube.
Awesome. And I think you're also writing a few blogs this month as well on the same topic.
Yes, I did mention that.
Everyone, be sure to check out our newly launched platform called Money Library, money-library.com. That's where you can keep up with all of our shows, all of our writings, and all that good stuff that we put out. So, very good. Okay, well, Eric, now let's switch gears a little bit. Here's a question for you. My grandfather is a Vietnam vet, and we just moved him into assisted living. Are there any benefits we can apply for from the VA to help offset the cost?
There may be some benefits that they can apply for to help offset costs for assisted living or, any type of retirement homes like that. A lot of it's going to depend on income, but if the grandfather isn't making a pension is only collecting Social Security, he may be eligible for what's called survivor's pension, and that's a VA benefit. It's not a true pension like you would get from serving 20 years. It's a benefit the VA gives people of lower income, and it's a means earning test. So let's say you're making $24,000 a year from Social Security, and you're paying $20,000 a year in long-term care costs. So in the eyes of the VA, you're really making $4,000, and they would give you that pension to help pay for the cost. And then there's an additional benefit called aid and attendance. So if you need somebody to full-time help you do your 6 activities of daily living, feeding, taking care of yourself, you can apply for that benefit as well. That is also means tested, so a lot of it's not for the average retiree. It's going to be more for those veterans that have served during wartime and maybe have done 4 years or 8 years and don't have a pension and are just living off of Social Security. That's going to be more of who's going to benefit from the survivor, from the VA pension and or the aid and attendance.
Yeah. Okay, great. Can you tell us what you have that plate on your wall? Is that from your times?
That is from my tour in Cuba, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. I was there for 2 years, and that was my license plate while I was there. So it's my little souvenir from my time on the island.
Wow. What kind of car did you have?
An S10 pickup. And the biggest excitement on the island was there was one stretch of road where you could go all the way up to 35 miles an hour.
Well, that kind of reminds me of the Hawaii Islands, because there's only really one, definitely one road kind of going to island, but it's not, you can't go way too fast on it. So, yeah. Hey, maybe I'll get a souvenir one day. Very well. Okay. Let's see.
Anna, can I ask you a question?
Oh, you can. Yeah, I thought I was gonna.
This is one that's frequently asked of us. How can I keep my financial priorities on track?
Yes, it is indeed. So I almost every plan we put together for clients, they're like, okay, I'm ready to go, but sometimes the excitement and settles down, and they're like, okay, well, if we don't check in with them, they may not get on track. So here's what I've kind of developed on my own over the years. And then I know it's hard because we get busy with our lives, families, and things we like to do, and finances sometimes are just the last thing we want to worry about. So I came up with an idea, right, because I wanted to have just an incentive for myself to do these things. So I came up with an idea, and I called it a money date, right? Everybody gets excited when they go on a date. So I thought, okay, well, if I just kind of wrap that concept around the money, maybe that would be a more exciting task that I would want to do. So you could have a money date with yourself. You can have a money date with your significant other. So if there's someone that you're working together on your finances, that's okay to do. Or if you want somebody objective with the professional view to help you, keep everything on track, you can definitely do that. And that could be one of us here at MainStreet. Okay, but for the meantime, I think the easiest way to start is at least with yourself or your significant other. So here's what you can do, and I usually do this once a week. Most of the times, most of the weeks, it's usually once a week. And there's 5 questions. So I've asked myself, and I get together with Yuri, and we go through these 5 questions. Okay, they're real easy to remember. So number 1, we take a look at our goals. So what are our goals? Are we on track with those goals? They could be anything. It could be financial goals, personal goals, life goals. So each of us have our own little list. But a lot of times your personal goals tie into finances. So that's why you look at that first. Now, the next three things we do is we look at how much money did we make this week, how much money did we save or not waste, and then do we have any debts that we accumulated? Do we spend money on maybe airline tickets or whatever it is that happened in the last week? And then do we anticipate any unusual expenses, and what do we have to do to adjust? So going through these 5 questions does not take a lot of time. It's really more of just a mindset and kind of sitting together You could do it over a happy hour if that's what works for you. I usually try to do this on the weekend, maybe Saturday afternoon, or Sunday actually turns out to be a better day, because kind of Sunday afternoon you get together with your family members, and that's easier to sort of set up, and then you planning for the week ahead, so it gets you this mindset about, okay, I'm ready to start the next week, but then I also get a report of how we've done in a previous week. So 15 minutes the most, that's all it takes. But I've from the personal experience, I've seen how much awareness I get, and it's just sort of a reminder there that maybe there are some things that I had in my financial plan that I didn't get to. Then these questions kind of remind me of that. So that is my money date, and that's how I.
Well, that's a good way to keep priorities on track.
I invite you guys to do your money dates as well, and let me know how they go. Okay, so we have a few more minutes for maybe one question for each of you guys. So let's see. Let's go with Jim. So we're gonna stay on topic with your Social Security month. Here's a question for you. What happens if I forget to start taking Social Security at age 70? Is that even possible?
It is for people that are working, Anna.
All right.
I've seen this a couple of times in my career as a financial planner, and here's what happens. You send somebody down there. You go to Social Security immediately, and what they'll do is they'll sign you up for the next month. You'll start getting your benefit. If you've been working, they will recompute your high 35 for you, and they will give you a lump sum going back 6 months. That's the maximum.
Mm-hmm.
So if you forget to sign up for Social Security, they will give you a little bit of a boost, but that's about it. Should you delay if you're working past 70, delay in taking Social Security? The answer is really no. The amount of money we're talking about is very small, and it's better to have $3,500 in your checking account than waiting for $3,515 to come in a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. So let's say you're 71 and a half and you just finally realize that, okay, you're not going to work anymore. So now you go to the Social Security Administration and you ask for your benefits.
You'll get a 6-month lump sum, and then they'll start paying you the next month.
Okay. Good. Very good. All right, Eric, one more question for you. Okay, so when can I apply for SSI for my disabled child? So can you clarify for our listeners what SSI benefits are?
Sure. SSI benefits are a supplemental income from Social Security that individuals who are disabled get if they've never worked before. If you have a history of working and you have a history of income, then you would apply for supplemental disability income, which is SSDI. So SSI would be, let's say you have an individual with significant disabilities, unable to take care of themselves, and they're 16. Social Security is going to look at their, his or her parents' income and do a means test to say how much are they making. Are they making too much for Social Security benefits? In most cases, the answer is going to be yes. However, and when that child turns 18, they are no longer looked at on their parents' income. They're only looked at on their own. So if in the cases of individuals with disabilities, many of them will not graduate at 18. They're going to stay in high school until age 21 because it bridges the gap for other benefits that they're going to receive. So that 18 to 21 period, they're still eligible for Social Security. So parents should make the application at age 18 for the SSI benefit, even if they were declined and when the child was younger. At 18, they look at how much income the child has, how many, what their assets are, and then they use that to determine if they're eligible for SSI. So that's the easy answer is always apply, just don't expect it.
Mm-hmm. And so what happens until age 16?
Well, between birth to age 18, if they're not getting SSI, the parents are just going to have to make do with whatever income they have. Mm-hmm. Most of the benefits they'll have will be paid for by the school. Things like physical therapy, occupational therapy, those will be paid for by the schools to a certain extent, and insurance will make up the difference, or parents will pay out of pocket. But because the child is under the age of 18, the things like food and housing, that's all expected to be covered by the parent. At 18, now you're legally an adult, so things like food and housing, it's reasonable to think that you'd be required to pay for it on your own. So Social Security looks at it and says, well, you're 18, you're an adult, we're going to help you pay for food and housing, etc.
Okay, understood. Okay, well, we are just right on time, actually. We probably should wrap up. We forgot to ask our listeners if there were any questions, as usual. Well, I will take your extra questions next time. So, but everybody have a great weekend. We're going to be back next month. Send us your questions because that's what makes this show live and interesting. So, Jim and Eric, thank you very much. And then I'm off to the beach, so I'll see you guys later.
Okay, see you later.